Yeah. So as Zeus mentioned, Seahawks and Chiefs played last night,
Chiefs and Texans.
and Chiefs and Texans played last night, and the NFL, they try to show that, hey, we've been listening to all these things that have been happening, even though we sort of blacklisted Colin Kaepernick about the whole kneeling situation. We're trying to extend an olive branch, so to speak, right? And I'm one of those people who feels like, hey, if you're trying something, I will at least accept that you're trying. I don't spend too much time on whether you're being disingenuous about it or not. If you're trying, I'll take it as you're trying. So I like the fact that the NFL decided that we're going to have both teams come out and lock arms, and we're going to have.
That wasn't the NFL.
Oh, those are the teams.
That was the players. The players.
Oh, I'm giving the NFL credit where it's not due.
Now, in fairness to the NFL, though, they are allowing them to wear the decals in the back with slogans.
Black Lives Matter and all that stuff.
People who got killed. So there was a lot of Brianna's in the back, and then there's like hate no more and end racism.
I like that. And again, it's one of those things that at least they're doing something, right? Even if it might come off as, well, they don't want to lose money, or whatever it is, they're doing something. So anyway, the teams apparently made the decision to come out, lock arms, do the moment of unity thing, and of course there were boos in the stadium. And it's one of those things where I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of happy they booed, right? Because I was happy they booed because it
was not about the flag. Exactly.
Once and for all proved it. Because I've been having this argument with friends of mine for years that this is not, stop conflating these issues, right? Colin Kaepernick is taking a knee because he's saying that there's a lot of stuff going on out there that you guys want to ignore just because it's nice to escape and watch football and not have to think that something's going on. That's all he's trying to do. And you guys, instead of hearing him, want to say, oh, you're disrespecting the flag, you're disrespecting my father who went to war, my brother who went. Nah, it wasn't any of that. And yesterday showed that it didn't matter if anyone was kneeling. It didn't matter if anyone was throwing stuff during the anthem. It didn't matter any of that. All that mattered is, yet again, someone is reminding you that there's something wrong in this country and you don't like it. You don't like being reminded of that. And I was happy that they booed because I was like, thanks for showing yourselves.
Showed exactly who you were. It was a self-own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And actually, I really wished, I wish that Al Michael or Colin Scott had actually pointed it out.
I was really hopeful. Yeah, they ignored it.
I don't know if they ignored it or they just didn't acknowledge it. Because there could be a difference, right? They maybe they didn't ignore it in the sense of they're like, oh, let's not mention it, or they just kind of didn't pay attention to it. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, when the boos happened, but then again, they're in the stadium, so right, they should be able to hear it better than me. But when I was hearing it, I was like, are those boos? And then I was like, yeah, those are boos. So maybe that's what it is. But I wish they had mentioned. I wish they had said it. I honestly, because I feel like Al Michaels would have been one of those people that says, I was like, here, people are booing it. They're idiots. Honestly, I feel like he'd be one of those because he doesn't really. If you pay attention to him, he doesn't mince words a lot of times when it comes to like stupid stuff.
Which one, Al Michaels or Chris Collinsworth?
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, yeah.
Yeah. So it was it proved that, like you said, once and for all, it proved it's. I mean, we've known it's not been about the flag.
Yeah, no, we know. Yeah, but I mean, you try to tell the people, and they're like, oh, but
because you're literally like, they're not disrespect. They literally did the flag. There was only one person who took a knee. The Houston Texans decided we're going to stay in the back. I am of the opinion, you know what? If you don't want the national anthem to be disrespected anymore, how about we don't show it at a sporting event?
This is literally the only country that plays the national anthem at every sporting event for their major league sports. The only country, I promise you. Go anywhere else. This doesn't happen. I don't. And what bugs me is that people don't seem to realize that these sporting leagues are basically monetizing your patriotism.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're gonna give us more money because we show faux patriotism. Sure, yes, we'll take it. That's all it is, right? Because they don't do it anywhere else. It doesn't make sense.
Now,
Right?
I don't know if it's every major sports, but I know that the military the military pays the NFL to play the national anthem.
Yeah. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, they're the ones that they pay because they weren't playing it up until 2009 or 2006.
I know it was while I was here that it started.
And I mean, they always played it in front of the they played in front of the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, the
WrestleMania
All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game also. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the national championship, or in the All-Star games case, this is like a national showcase. You are bringing all the teams together because they also play the Canadian anthem, in the NBA All-Star game also. I get that. But we're talking every single regular season game. That doesn't make any sense. It does.
You know what it does? What it is? I feel like a lot of people, what they choose to do is they choose to use, like you said, their faux patriotism to excuse their purposely targeted ignorance. They purposely target their ignorance towards a certain issue so they don't have to look at it. They don't have to think about it. Yeah. They don't have to. What's the problem with people demanding not to be killed?
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, they shouldn't have resisted arrest. Resisting arrest alone should never there's no cop there. When half the time when they're resisting arrest, all they're doing is resisting getting in handcuffs.
Yeah.
They're not resisting and trying to grab gun like they claim half the time.
You're resisting arrest. Well, what are you being arrested for in the first place?
And that's the one thing.
Yeah, go on.
There was a guy who recently was pulled over, and off the bat, the officer was trying to excuse. Look, you're not a suspect, but you look like the description. And he kept saying, "You're not the suspect. You're not the suspect. I know you're not a suspect." But you described it specifically as a black guy wearing a white hoodie or a gray hoodie or something like that. That's what you have on. He's like, yeah. And the guy was like, all right. He put on his Facebook Live to basically be like, look, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm putting it on Facebook Live. And the guy was like, hey, look, I'm recording too. Whatever, it's good, right? The cop was trying to be cordial or whatever, right? And eventually they let him go. Eventually they put him. They let him go. They say that, oh, you're clear, blah, blah, blah. But this is the thing that gets me. They make it sound like it was amazing because at the end, because it turns out he was a military policeman at one point. So they asked him to come in, and they were like, afterwards, they asked him to train, right? Yeah. I would say that'd be a feel-good story, right? That the cop is like, hey, you're not a suspect. I'm not going to suspect. I don't know if it's you. I don't think it's you. But I'm going to go ahead and then maybe Dane can follow up on this when he talks about his comedy. So they still put him in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm. I know the video you're talking about. I saw that.
Yeah, and my thing is, I'm like, he had like 5 other cops around him, right? So my thing is, if this is me, honestly, I like to say that this would be what I would say. Because I've never been put in handcuffs. And I have no desire to be put in handcuffs, even if you kind of think that I might be that person. I'm like, look, you got 5 guys here who have guns. You could put me between you could put the car between me and all 5 of y'all. I ain't got nowhere to go. Yeah. If I make a move for something, all 5 of y'all gonna blast me right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Right? Why are you putting me in handcuffs? Yeah. That's what I don't get.
There's something so degrading. Why do you
have to pull that humiliation of putting me in?
There's something so degrading about being put in handcuffs. It doesn't matter if they take it off later. You were put in it in the first place. And I hate when I see people say that, oh, well, just go with it, and then you'll get off. When they realize that it's not you, they'll let you go.
But you know what that sounds like a lot to me. Uh-huh. It sounds a lot to me like when rape victims are told to just go with it. You know what I mean? Like just like, well, just Don't fight it. Just let it happen because, you know, you're already in that bad situation. Don't make it worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't make it worse. Exactly. Yeah.
And this is the thing, though. You know what that does to a person of color when you rape us of our dignity.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That's what you end up doing. You end up raping us of our dignity because you're making us. I am not a criminal. I don't do anything that would be considered a criminal. Maybe I jaywalk here when I'm walking on the street. Maybe I, you know, I did a rolling stop, you know, but I'm not a criminal. But you treat me like one. You're making me feel like one. And then now I'm over here like, now I'm putting handcuffs. And then you could only imagine who might be walking around. You know, you see random people are seeing me. Yeah, I'm never going to see these people again. But right now they're looking at me like I'm a suspect. You rape me of my dignity. And that's what they end up doing. They want that. And it's just like, there has to be a point where you're protecting and serve. Because at this point, half the time what they're doing is they're protecting and targeting. That's pretty much what they're doing. You know? So, anyways. Yeah, so the booing thing was just, yeah, that's just something that, you know. And then if people want to know why it's an issue, who don't get why it's look at how upset we're getting over just talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jon Stewart said, you think it's exhausting to talk about racism? It's a pain in the ass. Imagine fucking living it.
Yes, exactly. The thing that gets me is when people are like, oh, I'm so tired of this. So tired. It's like, oh, I'm sorry that you're so tired of it. You know, I'm sorry. Let me take off my black skin for it. I'm tired. I'm tired of constantly, you know, if I go out to CNN, just wishing, please let it not be another story of a black guy getting shot by a cop. Please let it, because I don't want to go through this, you know, but I don't have the luxury of avoiding it, you know. You at least have
I didn't want to watch the Jacob Blake.
Yeah, I think I told you about that one where I actively avoided it, and somehow I still happen to see it. And that's the thing, right? You can't avoid these stories.
And then I don't want to see like who has a Breonna Taylor documentary, huh?
Oh, Hulu. Okay.
Hulu. They have a little documentary on her. I don't want to watch it just because it's exhausting. Because I know that the outcome right now is still that person is still the person who killed her is still free.
Yeah.
And then even when they do arrest them, half the time it's just a pony show, because they're gonna get off. Like honestly, like half the time whenever somebody gets arrested for these kind of things, I don't know about you, but I kind of are off the bat. I'm like, they're probably gonna get off anyways.
I mean, yeah, probably, but I'd rather they get arrested than nothing.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. At least you're trying. Like, there's at least something being done. Yeah. But at the time, I feel like it's a bit of a pony show, just because they're just that person's gonna. I mean, I was shocked when that what was that white lady cop that shot the guy in his apartment. Amber
Geiger, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I believe she's appealing it, and there's a possibility that she might actually get the appeal.
Yeah, Botham Jean, that's the name of the guy who got shot. And that's the thing. We remember these names because it happens all too often, and you know they get plastered in front of your face, and it's someone had a tweet about it one time about how it's like having PTSD, right? And then another one of these news stories is like a trigger for that PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to believe that I can, you know, walk around and
I believe
nothing's going to happen to me, you know. And yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I believe the UN, or it was another country, that sent out a notification to its citizens that were here that stated, get out of the US, and these are the reasons why. And one of the reasons was the way they treat
black people,
their black citizens.
Yeah, I saw something like that. Yeah, yeah, it's terrible.
The stuff you see in the news now is the same stuff we see in foreign countries, and we think that those foreign countries are not democratic.
Yeah,
you know, it's basically what
the ones we want to go into and spread our democracy to.
Yeah, we want to bomb them with freedom
because of these issues. Well, so anyway, Sorry.
So this football talk took a little bit of a dark
Yeah,
turn.
sorry to end the sports section on a downer, but I mean, but that's the thing. Right? We can't avoid it, and if we can't avoid it, then you can't either.
But real quickly about the NFL, I do want to mention with the NFL, I kind of feel like we could give them a little bit of props for actually like seeming to not want to ignore it anymore. But I kind of feel it's one of those issues where they realize, like, you know what, our players are going to keep talking about it, and we're going to go ahead and put ourselves in the front of it and let them do it. But I don't honestly feel like there's genuine interest from the NFL about fixing these issues. It's just let them talk, let them have a soapbox to sit on.
So, okay.
They're giving them a platform, but they're not really going to.
The question on that would be, if the NFL did want to fix something, what could they do to fix issues?
Hey man, look, these guys are billionaires. The billionaire people could really they could talk to the other billionaires like that are donors and tell them, like, hey, look, we're gonna start pulling donations to start. If you don't start passing legislation, at the end of the day, money talks.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw money at them and be like, look, you need to start passing legislations that benefit people of color.
So you mean putting their weight behind legislation that actually makes a difference?
Exactly, because all they're doing is they're allowing players to talk to the masses, but the masses aren't the ones that are going to create the difference. The ones that are going to create the difference. Now, don't get me wrong; it will cause some from other generations to maybe change their mind about things that they've been taught, that they've been indoctrinated into. Maybe cause them to think, like, okay, maybe look, all these people doing all this stuff. Maybe I need to change my opinion. But I think at the end of the day, with the NFL, at the end of the day, they're gonna the one color they're gonna care about the most is green, and they probably felt that maybe the NBA kind of scared them when they did, because the NBA and MLS and baseball, they can postpone plenty of games, but the NFL is on such a fixed schedule that they can't really protest any game. And then if they do protest certain games, the players probably know that all they'll do is just move it to their bye week. You know what I mean? But they're not going to postpone the postseason because they want to have the Super Bowl done by this date. So they're not going to do stuff like that. So real quickly, I did just talk about with the NBA. Real quickly, what's your thoughts on the protest that happened with the NBA?
I think it was a good thing. I know your opinion on it because we talked before, but I think it was a good thing because it put light on it. It put a lot of light on it. And I know you might think that, well, people already knew what was going on in Kenosha. It put international light on it. I have a friend that I went to boarding school with, and he lives in Botswana. He follows the NBA like religiously. He's a big Boston Celtics fan, but he follows everything in the NBA. And he was aware of the Bucks saying that they won't play the game because of what happened basically in the neighborhood, right? And the NBA doing that made it an international story. Now, sure, playoffs did resume, but they talked about it. They talked about it on Tucker Carlson's show, where he, as usual, cornered himself into casual racism. They put a light on it. But did they solve racism? Did they stop shootings forever? No, they didn't. And this isn't something that can be solved through one protest or whatever. But as long as they're making people aware of it, I think it's a good thing. I always think that's a good thing. But what about you? What are your thoughts?
First of all, I was pleasantly surprised when they did the stoppage, right? When they canceled the games. And if that's all they had done, I would have been perfectly happy with it, because they did so. Because this is the thing, though. With this, I always thought, I kind of feel like this is like the whole what's the saying goes? The roosters come to crow at the farm or some shit.
The chickens come to roost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know sayings, but I don't know how to say them. So like you said, the chickens come to roost. Because every time that these protests happen, right, these kneeling during the national anthem, what was the one thing that people bitched about? Oh, don't mix it. Don't mix
politics. Yeah.
So this is what happens when you continue to ignore it and don't want them to mention it. Okay, because guess what? Politics wasn't mixing with sports. Because the only time they were protesting was during the 1 minute of the national anthem, which, by the way, half of the people who are complaining about it don't even stand up during the national anthem at home. They're still sitting down on their couch. They're going to go get nachos.
Yeah.
Half the stadium is walking out and going to go get something using the restroom. So it's not like don't act like you're like as soon as the national anthem happens, you just stand up at attention. And if you did, guess what? There'd be some people would be like, there's something wrong with you.
No, I know people who started doing that after Trump started making a deal about it, so that they can prove that, look, I do stand at attention. I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and guess what? Guess what Donald Trump did during the Super Bowl? Was dancing during the whole damn thing.
Right.
So, anyways,
yeah.
so this is what happens when basically you want to ignore the 1 minute or so, or whatever, how long the song is, 3 minutes, I guess. 3 minutes long that the song is. And they're kneeling during that time to basically say, look at me. I have something to talk about. Need you to pay attention, right? There's a lot of us here that pay attention, right? People ignored it. People didn't want to talk about it. The country didn't want to talk about it. So guess what happens? What's the one thing that people hate getting messed up?
The sports.
Exactly. So there's what happened. All right, you don't want to listen to us at all. You want to keep doing this crap, and then you keep telling us to shut up and dribble. How about we don't dribble at all? We're gonna stop it completely. So honestly, I was awesome with that, because the NBA doing it led to MLS doing it, led to MLB do it, and I believe the NHL did it too, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I don't keep up with that.
I don't keep up with NHL 100%, but I think there was a mention about that. And then because honestly, some of the sports like MLB didn't cancel any games, did they?
Yeah, they did. The Braves had already played their game that day, but I know that a couple of games that evening got canceled.
And see, the MLB is filled with a lot of players that you would think. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of minority players, right? Because they have a lot of Hispanics, and then they have. I think at least one team, every team has at least one or two African American, maybe. But,
well, yeah, you need people to steal bases.
Oh,
That's terrible.
No.
Hey, black people are fast.
That's a good one. But no. So but I was shocked that they honestly, I was shocked that they protested, that they decided to cancel the show, cancel the games. I really was. And to me, that kind of led to somebody, like, hopefully maybe there is somebody out there who has backward ideas, who realize, like, hey, maybe this is something I need to pay attention to, because even my baseball players are doing this.
No, because the reason why that would never work is because of this thought process, which is reinforced by Tucker Carlson that night. Remember, I said he went into his racism, and also Jared Kushner reinforced it, where they're like, oh, all these rich guys who are lucky to have these riches now want to force their views on us. Want to say, oh, they're gonna they're rich enough that they can afford to boycott and all that stuff. Kind of pushing that narrative that don't listen to these guys. These are the elites. So why should they tell you, the common man, what to do? So it was like a reverse thing of they're the haves and you're the have-nots. Don't listen to them.
Do you know the one? I think it's a black baseball player that did talked about it right after. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't know if that had to do with the Blake thing, but I know when baseball resumed, there was a black player. I want to say it was St. Louis Cardinals, but I don't know for sure. But he had something that said Black Lives Matter, or maybe he took a knee, and he got booed. And he was like, he had like a post-game conference about it, and he was like really emotional. But actually, I posted it on Facebook. Um, but he was like really emotional talking about, I don't get how these people can come out and watch us and support us, but then they don't get, they don't want to listen to what we're going through. That these things are affecting our lives and our people and yada yada. And it was powerful, but also I'm like, if they haven't heard all this time, then they're never gonna hear.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to find it so that way we can post it in the description. Because honestly, if it's the one that I'm thinking about, it was a pretty powerful, like, because it was raw,
Mm-hmm.
and you could feel the pain, and that's the one thing these people don't seem to understand is like there's genuine pain behind this. Because the reason I mentioned that one, or it might have been another speech that another player said, and I think it might have been for football, is just because I got out doesn't mean I don't understand
Exactly.
the pain that these people are getting. You seem to think, like, people seem to think, oh, I'm rich because I'm entitled. No, first of all, I had to work extra hard because I'm working. A lot of them are working, are having to keep their minds straight in the hood.
Yeah.
Where it's easy to get pulled to negative stuff. They have to keep focused there, and then they're doing something that they end up being successful at, something that the elite of the elite get good at. Because this is the top percent of the best college players, and the best college players is the best percentage of the best baseball players. Yeah. I mean, the best high school players.
Yeah.
It just entitlement, that like, when they talk about privilege, like, first of all,
that bothers me.
They're rich. They're not privileged.
Yeah.
They got privilege, maybe. They got certain privileges. Yeah. But even remember, what's his name? Tyler Perry almost got pulled over and he even said that I almost got victimized until another cop figured out who he was.
Yeah.
When he got pulled over and said, hey, you know who that is? And then they chilled out on him.
Even Dave Chappelle told that story of being pulled over by that same cop who ended up being involved in a shooting where he shot the guy because he thought he had a gun. He said freeze, and before the guy could even like respond or whatever, he like shot him twice. And he was in an aisle in like Walmart or whatever, and thought he had a gun, and he had like I didn't even know what he had in his hand, but it wasn't a gun.
Yeah.
And apparently the day before, that same cop had pulled over Dave Chappelle, and only because he recognized it, it's like, oh, you're Dave Chappelle. All right, well, have a good day. Like, you shouldn't have to be famous or an athlete to be spared.
Yeah.
Like, that's all they're just trying to do.
The only thing that I didn't like with the NBA was teasing the cancellation of the playoffs. I feel like it was kind of like one of those things where they thought about it, it came up, and then some people are saying, some far left Twitter are saying that that Obama put it into it because he talked to them. I honestly think at the end of the day, it was just the players were like, hey, I'm still not trying to lose this money. That's how I feel. Because at the end of the day, Green's going to talk.
Yeah, I don't think canceling the season was ever on the table. But yeah, I mean, the idea that Obama told them and then I don't know. I like Obama, and I know a lot of the NBA players like Obama. I don't think Obama has that kind of power to be like, all right, guys, get back to work. And no. I think that they gave Obama a little too much credit there.
I don't think you're giving him enough for a lot of stuff he does. But anyway, all
right. This is like a 4-hour show.
Hey man,
almost. We
had some stuff to talk about, so people
like catching up.
Please.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted that. Say it again, please, for the people in the back.
All right, so this concludes the episode, the super pack episode of ZZ Talk with Zeus and Zino. Like and subscribe. Please comment. Nobody's ever commented on our videos. We'd like to see some comments. Give us some suggestions. Give us some ideas. Give us some responses. We
have one comment.
If you comment, we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. So we have a comment on one of the videos with Dane. So shout out to Elisa on nominating me for president 2020, but as I said, I can't run. But I do appreciate it. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, share. That's the thing you weren't saying, Zeus.
Sorry. That's the reason why we haven't blown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you like the video, but we want your friends to like it too.
That's true. That's true. Just an FYI, I told my wife today, so people, if you want to search our videos, but for some reason you're not subscribed, why would you do that? But if you search our videos, ZZ Talk, Zeus, Zino in the search bar. Because if you put ZZ Talk, ZZ Top comes up.
Yeah, and you know,
so bad.
That's kind of why we picked the name, and now it's a problem.
Yeah. All right. Peace out.
All right. Bye.